so gutted about Slovenia. I'm
Has it been
actually
cancelled?
no, not yet.
Well, it's
not
not
yet.
officially. It's not been cancelled, but it's just over the border from Venice, so
It's going to be cancelled.
it's definitely going to get cancelled, isn't it?
What do you think? Because at the minute, I mean, Slovenia is still letting people in, but they're quarantining people for 14 days, so you can still get to Slovenia.
Because you said on your chat with either you guys or Nicole the other day that Slovenia haven't had any cases. I don't think that's true. I think they've had quite a few.
I think they have had now. I think the time I read that they weren't really testing people properly, but now proper tests have come out. It's like, okay, shit, we've got some issues. But I've just been speaking to a friend of mine who works in the NHS, and they seem to think that we'll be at peak by end of April, and then May, and then we'll start to come down. But it's just how quickly that down rate is.
The other thing is, at the moment, I don't even know. Can we fly out there at the moment?
You can fly to Slovenia, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But like I said,
they shut the first London airport yesterday, didn't they? London City got shut.
I don't know. Graham will tell us. Graham's the one that travels all around the world.
Yeah, where are you, Graham?
I'm at home, mate.
Which one?
Home? Which home?
One of 50.
Absolute jokes.
Is this Hong Kong or is this UK?
This is the UK home.
The UK home.
You all right, buddy?
That is.
Nice.
I'll get you on in a bit. Sorry, I was just parenting. So.
Oh, yes.
You know what that feels like, Luke? You know, in the moment, you got to be there.
I know how that feels like. I look after myself every day.
No, you don't. Emily looks after you all the time.
Is that why you were doing ponytails yesterday on yourself?
Yeah. I was just there, and Emily's hair bits were there. I'm like, I'm going to have a bit of a play. Just jealous, Graham. Just jealous.
Sorry, can we just put that quote on the Insta? Hair bits were there, and I had a bit of a play. There you go. That's the soundbite that we all need for the weekend.
Yeah, I've made a few of them this week. Fortunately, I edit the podcast, so I can take all those little bits out. Don't worry.
So it's edited content, right? Okay,
we're missing all the classic Jack anatomy quotes.
Yeah,
Really?
No, that stayed in. I did leave that one in. It stayed in.
Oh, yeah.
Women don't have scapulas.
Women don't have scapulas.
Yeah. Biology with Jack was amazing.
Yeah, I should do more of this.
Science with Jack. Maybe this could be a new feature.
Definitely.
Oh,
why not? How's Stuart? You all right, Stuart?
Not too bad yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Have you run yet this morning?
Done. I've just got to do my my garage
training.
weights.
Yeah,
Sorry?
nice. Velocity training.
Yes, tonight.
Yeah, nice. Everybody else run yet? I haven't. I've just no.
I'll run later.
Rest day today, mate.
Rest day today.
Rest day. I've done 7 days back to back, so I figured I probably need a rest.
And are you guys finding? I'm finding this out now. Like because I'm obviously running my online boot camps. I'm doing my own training, and I'm doing sporadic training as well, just because the shit's in the back garden. Do you find you get in from a day's work and you go, shit, I've done 5 workouts a day and I'm absolutely knackered? Or are you
Yes.
Are you guys the opposite?
I keep getting tagged in workout challenges as well. And I'm like, well, I've got to do it.
You're such a popular person, Luke. You know, that's the reason.
People just want to hurt me. They're like, how many burpees can you do in 5 minutes? I'm like, oh, why? It's always burpees.
I've been tagged in so many things that I haven't done yet. So on Tuesday when I finish, I've got to catch up. I've got so many things to so many press ups to do, burpees to do. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky. I'm not getting caught up in all of that jazz.
And tag.
Don't start with that, Luke. Don't start with that.
Well,
yeah. What is the Instagram handle? So
it's jumping jacked flash.
Right, that's getting changed.
Oh dear.
I mean, the whole push-up thing. I mean, everyone give me 10 push-ups. Anyone can do 10 push-ups. At least make it a little bit harder.
Ooh.
And I really wish I hadn't.
Push-ups, go.
I really wish I hadn't said that, because now I'm just getting nomination after nomination.
So Field Fit Bootcamp available to all capabilities, but your minimum standard is 10 press-ups.
But I sort of got caught out on this yesterday because Nicole Miracle joined us for a workout last night.
And you got smashed.
No. She can't do push-ups. She can't do 10 push-ups. The champ cannot do 10 push-ups. She won't mind me saying that because she can't.
She doesn't need to. She runs.
But she could do pull-ups ridiculous. I was watching her pull-ups like that. Come on. I can't keep up. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, straight up, she's strong as an ox, isn't she? So.
Strong as an ox. Strong as an ox. Hey, talk about Atkins. So I saw Atkins. But
why do you want to talk about Atkins? Why do you want to talk about Atkins?
Because this
seamless segue.
This is how I work, Graham. You see, this will link and flow.
We talk about one thing, then we go straight somewhere else.
Another
right,
pro.
okay, cool. I missed the briefing for this call. You see.
Okay,
so,
a proper pro.
No, it's not just this call. It's every time we talk.
Yeah, no, it's every time I talk. Yeah. So I'm talking about proper pros. Okay, so not like just me and Luke, but proper pros.
How dare you?
Cutting.
It's true.
Can't be deep.
His burpees. I sent that to Luke and was like, come on, we've got to beat at least Atkins in 30 burpees.
107.
107. So
what did he hit? 105?
No, 1010.
110.
Ooh.
But he was doing proper burpees. That, I mean, some of the
We're all doing
standards.
proper burpees.
Yeah, but some of the standards, like that girl that hit 56 minutes, which was rapidly quick.
56
minutes?
Wow. What was she doing, Jack? One of your boot camp sessions?
She was, yeah. Seconds.
Oh, Graham. Oh my god! This started.
Nat
With at least 5 minutes before this happened.
Nat and Stu were like, "Who is this guy, and why is he ripping Jack so much?"
Ripping Jack early doors.
I'm used to this.
Yeah, I thought we'd have 5 minutes of calm before Jack got teared down, but let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
At this rate, we need to get a new coach.
Oh!
Oh no, Jack.
Luke, are you available at the moment?
I'm not that busy, but
Is anybody busy?
no.
Talking about coaches.
Who is PS4431?
PS.
Looks like
Do you know what?
Natasha Mansell to me.
Do you know what this is?
Looking
This
very
is
stern.
Natasha on her new laptop. She's actually got the damn thing working.
Ooh.
No,
Well,
she's
she's
Or
frozen
not.
at the moment. So.
Natasha.
That's her bitch face. Look at that. That's serious, isn't it?
That's the concentrating face.
That's what do you mean? I did 29 burpees.
Yeah. Give me back my podium.
She's not even
So
on.
Jack, where were you on these 59-minute burpees?
On these, 56 minutes burpees. Yeah, 56 seconds. Like she's barely leaving the floor. And like her legs are super wide, which I get is the rules now with burpees, isn't it? So the new rule is as long as you're upright, your hands above your head and you leave the floor, you can have to pass a bit of paper between like you and the floor effectively.
Really? So they're going for speed.
They're going for speed, which is understandable because it's a challenge.
Style burpees.
But CrossFit style burpees, like proper down up as fast as you
There's
possibly
not
can.
a lot of they're not going full horizontal. There's a lot of this.
No, and the videos that I've watched where people are being full horizontal, i.e. a la Atkins and Luke, like there's definitely at least 10 seconds in getting fully up.
Oh yeah, you're
long.
losing
burpee
seconds.
challenge.
Yeah, I'm just saying like the difference
Morning, Nat.
between that angle can make a huge difference.
Who has done the burpee challenge here? Who's done the 30 burpees? What was your time?
I think like 124, 126.
That's pretty
Solid.
good.
That's pretty
Solid.
good.
And that was the second attempt. And after we'd done about 120 broad jumps as well. And then Andrea's like,
high
"Let's do
Roxy
the challenge."
burpees. Right, okay.
Yeah. So probably not the best time, but
Hey, you did it, Jack. We need to see yours. When are you going to do it tonight?
When I haven't
go
done
live
a
and do
massive
it.
upper body workout, but yeah, I'll do it
that was
tonight.
epic.
Massive.
Jack, you're recording right now, mate. Drop and give us 30, mate. I think we should see it. And
Mate,
let us watch the form while you do it.
If I do burpees on this floor,
No
I swear
rep.
to God, the whole house will just shake.
Jack, you look like you're
All my
about
medals.
to like give us a concert. Stood
All my
up
medals.
with his mic.
Yeah,
Sorry,
don't.
that wasn't an invitation.
Are you Jack? Are you that gif flying around with the woman ironing where she's making DJ decks?
I haven't
She
seen
blows
that.
the steam out and,
And the
then
cat
smashes
jumps
some.
I haven't seen that. We need to see this shit. Post it.
Oh, Jack, I've just got back from my run and I started my warm up and oh my God, my bum from those, in that, what was our 6:30 class, doing all the squat jumps and the
hits.
tuck jumps. I was like, my bum, I've got to do hill reps.
Do you know what? Facebook is playing up.
If
I
you
did a
want,
3-mile warm up just to try and get my bum to loosen up.
if you want a solid workout, go and follow George when he's doing his gym box workouts.
It's not my kind of thing. I've got
Honestly,
to get myself into this.
he did body weight and it was ridiculous. Luke, have you just seen a picture of Jack trying burpees again, or what have you done?
I just took a picture to put the thing, and that's Natasha's face on the camera. Oh, that's going on. I was like, oh, I'll just post this on the Instagram, let people know we're on. And I looked in the corner and I'm like,
My God!
Tash, have you posted the videos you did in Tahoe yet?
I've still got them. I've got them.
You've got them. You've got the content, but you've got the
my
content
life.
video.
No, those pictures and
Hold
stuff.
on.
I forgot about them.
Hold on.
The Mickey take ones.
Should I share them onto the group?
I think you should slow mo Paul.
I'm going to share Graham's. Hold on. I'll share Graham's, not yours.
Hey, Graham's not mine.
Yeah, share mine. And then just put, if you want to see Tash's, DM me.
Yeah. I've got to find it first.
No one wants to see that.
Yes. So.
Stuart, you said you're still working.
Yeah.
Social
care is pretty manic.
Yeah, I bet. So are you working from home? Are you actually
on the
road?
I'm out on the road, so I'm visiting homes every day, making sure the staff are okay and supported and everything else, because they're looking after the vulnerable at the minute.
Wow.
Jeez, man. I take my hat off to you.
So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm walking in with cakes and fizzy drinks and stuff to try and keep morale up. And yeah, there are some impressive people out there helping.
Yeah, definitely.
Much love for those people.
I was thinking of reaching out. There's a charity called Cinnamon, and they go round and walk the pets of vulnerable and elderly people who can't get out.
Yeah, so we're associated with the Cinnamon Trust, so people can bring their
you?
pets, they can live in the homes. So we've got things like tortoises and budgies and cats and dogs live in the homes and stuff like that. So
I love that idea.
You know, and
so they can still have their companion.
It's a bit cliche, but it's that home from home.
Mm.
Can everyone see that?
Yeah, we can see that.
Why did you do that? Why?
Oh, Natasha.
It'd been a long day.
Are you cycling through, Jack? Are you trying to find...
Stop.
Stop. Find the videos, Jack. Find the videos.
Stop. This is not... This is bad. No.
We'll share the videos. We'll share the videos later.
We'll share the videos. I will show you Graham's, though. I've got to find it.
Yeah, but don't share the whole lot while you get there.
You don't want to go through all your pictures.
I'm getting very jealous of all these people with squat racks in their house.
Right.
This used to be a dining room. Now it's a home gym.
Yeah.
Decided I don't ever actually sit in here and eat, so I've pushed everything to the side.
There's Lego. And a skier.
Just found Graham thinking he's a VIP. Look.
That's a
hey. Jack, do you remember in the airport that you persuaded that guy that you were
No, Graham did.
Oh yeah,
Stormzy.
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 He actually believed it. We're like, he's so
the guy at the car hire desk. We decided to stitch Jack up a bit and just say, "Do you know this guy Stormzy?"
Yeah, but you got an upgrade for it.
Yeah, we did.
That guy's going to go home and Google Stormzy, be like,
yeah, and like, no.
He's going to be like, what?
We didn't have any. We honestly had no fun at all on that trip. At all, didn't.
No, it was just all business, so serious.
Are any of you not going to go to Abu Dhabi?
If it's on, yeah.
If it's on.
So I wasn't. My holiday was stretched too thin and had too many races booked and everything. But now that half the season's already written off, and I've got my holiday hours back, it is a strong possibility. Yeah.
Hey.
So do we think in all seriousness, guys, that's what's going to happen now is, say for instance it carries on going for a few months and Sparta make a decision that actually they can't backload the whole of the season into like the back end of the year. Do you think they're just going to say, well, tell you what, season, series, blah blah blah, we're just going to call it quits for 2020 and we'll still do a few races we can straight into world champs? I know it's going to be difficult.
I can see them saying, okay, instead of a 5-race series or a 4-race series, we're going to do a 3 or a 2 and just
do
call
the
it
best
short.
we can.
Yeah,
they'll probably try and either rearrange some of the ones they already had for the courses, or they'll just pick venues that are already booked in and just say, right, that'll be a national series race there now, I reckon. And then West Virginia will happen, Tahoe, as it will be this year for the North American one. And then they'll go to Abu Dhabi. So if it's all still going.
And say for us, if
August
like
would be safe, probably.
uh,
Anything from August on, race-wise, unless this continues, should be happening.
I've heard a strong rumour that August is where it is being rumoured the world will start for Spartan again.
Yeah, so Marston might be off, but I think if they had to cancel Pippingford, they'd just make like Scotland they'd make Scotland or Yorkshire the other series race instead.
Yeah, Pippingford's definitely getting cancelled.
Sorry, I laugh so much because I don't even think of the US series at the moment. I always think of the North American ones. So.
Oh, you don't think about us?
Yeah, I don't think about you. Sorry.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. So great point. Great point, Tash. Yeah, Marston will be off, and I don't know wherever the race is in the UK this year.
Neither is anybody else.
I moved my accommodation for Wales, and it was like half the price because it's now moved to freezing cold November.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, is that where they've done it? Is that what they've done with it?
It's gone to November rather than June.
Yeah, they've all been rebooked, but they're just from August, September.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very busy few months from August to December.
Have the UK rearranged dates been announced yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. I need to have a look, see what I can fit in.
I can tell you off the top of my head.
Oh, it's okay.
Go for it.
I haven't got my calendar with me.
There's a Facebook post.
It's because it's her background to her laptop.
Yeah.
Like, right, I need to know when I'm racing.
What am I doing?
So from a serious point, as we've got a couple of coaches and a mind coach on here right now,
Who's the mind coach?
I'm going to call you out, Graham. I'm going to call you. Yeah. Could you imagine?
Oh, Jack!
Excuse me. I'm better at it than you, Jack.
Oh, there it is. And with that little coy smile at the end as well.
Let's not go back to Tahoe. I
Still did it. Didn't I do it, Graham? I got over it.
Yeah, you did.
Still failed.
Sure.
You did. Yeah, you did. And Jack was doing all right till he crushed his knackers on the box.
So, right in front of Lindsay Webster as well, which is
Jack has a chance to help someone, and he goes and crushes his bollocks. It's like, come on, Jack.
Anyway, what's your question, Jack?
No, but firstly, I'm just going to come back to the box, and I do hope they bring that to the UK.
I'm going to clear it up.
I hope they bring that to the UK, because I tell you what, when you're knackered, that is such a hard obstacle. You guys probably haven't tried it. Did you have it in US last year, Luke?
No. It wasn't there when I did 2018. They didn't have the box.
It's a 19 obstacle, Jack.
Yeah, all right.
It's one of the 6.
All right.
With egg beater and whisk or twister or whatever it's called, or
whisker.
Yeah, whisker. Yeah.
So my serious note was, and I'm just saying this to Em. So obviously we have no idea, wherever you are in the world, we have no idea what your race season looks like now. We're all doing this really weird type training at the minute where we're not quite sure whether we're going to be racing, whether we're not going to be racing. From a mind point of view, how the hell how are you supposed to say, I don't know, positive? What's a very easy way? Is it just to continue doing workouts and enjoying them? Is it to still do your rest? Is it to continue as normal? Give me some.
I think we were quite lucky because silver lining lucky. We were like a month out, right?
Yeah.
When this all hit. Oh, hold on, hold that thought. I have someone at the door. I'm going to tell them to leave at the front door.
2 meters. 2 meters. Don't touch them.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
We'll just see what it is now.
Right. So, Jack, what's your question?
How do you stay motivated in these times?
So, I thought one of the things would be to pick something that you suck at or that you need to improve on.
Yeah.
But that normally in your season, when you're trying to peak for the next race, recover from the previous race, and all that kind of stuff, you don't really have time to put the effort into and concentrate on that. So you've got a goal rather than, because normally we've got a race deadline to work to.
Yep.
Mobility and stretching, that's what I'm doing a lot more of.
Okay, so mobility.
Tash is excited, everybody.
What did you
got?
get?
A very exciting delivery.
What protein
she's got a pet hamster.
I bought a new thing to train with.
What is it?
Is it food?
Is it crisps?
Is it food?
You got a resistance band?
No, they're fun.
Oh, you want
the pull-up thing.
The pull-up things. I saw them advertised on Insta yesterday.
Yeah, they're on Instagram.
I know, that's where I saw them, and I looked them up, and I was like, "Oh, they look really good."
Ooh, look!
Nathan's got some.
Hey!
By the way, I love the fact that Nathan's in his pajamas still.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to bed after this.
It's not my peanut butter, but
I got home from a night shift, had a shower, I'm going to bed.
So Luke's is clearly stretching mobility. Natasha's is clearly grip work.
No, I was going to say, I think in England we were quite lucky that we were at the stage where we were just about to go race specific.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys, but I'd kept my training quite generic, where I could have ramped it up, ramped it down, kind of like that half marathon type training. So actually I can just carry that on. If you'd been training for a marathon, I think that's so much worse, because you've got to that point where you've peaked and you can't just shift a marathon out and just rest until then, and you might not have time to drop it down, pick it back up again. So it almost then mentally would feel worse, like I've just wasted months. Whereas I think for us, we were probably in that sweet spot where we could have got sharpened for a short race, we could have extended it for a long race. So we can just carry on what we're doing. And like you say, you can just find, actually, we've got a bit of an extra off season to work on what our weaknesses are. Grip.
Which is obviously grip for you. Nathaniel, what's your working on?
Pull-ups.
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 Stuart?
Yeah.
I've definitely got to work on pull-ups because my grip strength is pretty poor, as you know. So it's just general using the rig in the back garden, trying to work on everything really.
Yeah.
And I'd like some more circuits in my plan, but you've tweaked it again. So
I've tweaked it again. Well, see, from a coaching point of view, this is a freaking minefield, because like I don't want to get people, so for instance, Stuart, I started putting some sort of OCR specific circuits in your training plan, but I pulled them all out when the coronavirus hit, purely because I thought I didn't want to get Stuart too specific for nothing at all. And as soon as you pick up a heavy bag or a bucket, there's only so much of that type of training you can do before it starts to really fatigue the body and mind. Come to that. And not only that, and this is where Graham comes in, like I know as soon as I start getting specific, throwing spears, carrying bags like I did the other day, actually, all of a sudden I start to think race. And what I don't want to be doing is getting all geared up for a race for them to say, well, actually, guys, we're now having the next 4 months doing nothing. You're all bound to your homes. And I actually do think it's going to get worse in the UK for the idiots that are out there still going out and doing things. We could all be in our living rooms and doing this every day if we're not careful. Therefore, we'll get no exercise, no one run a day, and we'll all be bound to our squat racks and our grip and pull-ups. Which you say, silver lining, you get to train your weaknesses, mobility and what have you. But my concern was getting you too specific for not a lot of specificity at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's
just time before the season kicks off. So.
Yeah, but
you got ages for that. I think that was probably what I was only just about to be starting to do when this hit, because it was like a month away. The only thing that I'm
somebody's copied your haircut, Jack.
Morning. Yeah,
take it
off. I'm gonna miss heavy lifting in the gym. Heavy for me, but like I don't have a squat rack and stuff, so I can't do. So I'm trying to like find leg stuff with using just a kettlebell rather than being able to load up back. And that is actually, I'm finding it's hitting my legs in a completely different way, which might be a good thing for a few months. Have a different stimulus to what you usually do. Like I don't do like what Jack put us through at 6:30 yesterday. I never do that kind of stuff, but actually it might help me.
Yeah.
So
Tash, I saw the most amazing home workout yesterday for that someone had invented because they don't have a leg press machine at home.
Yeah.
This girl, she's like a bodybuilder type person. She's put all her kettlebells on the end of her sofa, like wedged them in the cushion between the arm and where you sit on.
Yeah.
And then she's got her housemate to lift it up for her, and she's laying on her back on the floor and leg pressing her sofa.
No way.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
See, now I've said to Jack, I don't want to try stuff like that or handstand press ups because I live on my own. So if I need to go to A&E, it could be a problem.
Oh yeah, okay. So don't do anything too dangerous.
I won't try lifting my sofa.
So I watched that video back last night, Natasha, and the first round, Nicole was trying to do handstand push-ups. It's hilarious.
Oh, no.
She can't do normal ones.
Exactly. But I had her walking up the wall. So basically walking up into a handstand, then walking back down. But she soon got halfway.
This morning.
Yeah.
Angie, I'm keeping the
No. Nice.
Who's got the kids in the background?
It's probably me with my son talking about Spider-Man.
Oh, is it?
So.
Spider-Man.
Oh, should we come say hello to everyone and say Spider-Man?
Yeah, come say hello.
But Jack, it was good. I've actually got my tricep dips out for the first time in about 9 months yesterday, thanks to you. So that was good.
So what do we? Oh, wow. Yes!
Yes!
Wow!
Screen print.
Dude.
Put the hood back on. Hood back on. I want a screen print.
Thomas, he wants a picture. He wants a picture. So put the hood back on.
Coffee
You've
hour
got
with
more
Spider-Man.
muscles than your dad.
Tobey Maguire, eat your heart out.
Jack, there's been 2 other Spider-Man since Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
Is that all the reference you can come up with?
Oh, Jack.
Nice, got it.
Got it. Right, he's got a picture. Thanks, buddy. So
What's Spider-Man got to say about all this?
he's just like, great, because my dad's at home more.
Kids are loving life. They're off school. They're at home. Both parents are normally at home at the moment.
And
it's a bit hard. My wife and I both had a lot of work on this week and next week, so it's like he's having to learn how to concentrate. So a little bit longer, but he's doing well. He's doing great.
The first week's always going to be the hardest, isn't it? Like when people get settled in a couple of weeks' time, it'll be normal. Like I said.
Well, the thing for me is I work from home, right, most of the time, unless I'm traveling. So the idea of being around the house all day long doesn't bother me, and he's used to me being around at home anyway. So we kind of make it. We're already like 50% of the way there, so it's pretty cool. So
how are you
finding
Jack. Homeschooling though, Graham? Are you realising we're not as intelligent as we thought we were?
Well, you guys know this, right? But alongside the performance coach stuff, I do the kind of organizational transformation thing, and I spend a lot of my time doing adult learning. So it's just about translating that into child learning. So sort of creating the spaces where he can learn isn't that much of a challenge for me. So I actually quite enjoy it.
Trigonometry.
Oh,
I'd be like, what?
I have got an A-level in maths, so I can get so far.
So, I wouldn't remember any of that now.
I find it quite fun.
Stuff like that now.
Jack can teach anatomy if you need it.
Yeah, really? Brilliant.
That was so funny. I'm glad I missed that podcast. So I haven't got.
We'll have a look at that.
What is it? I haven't got.
Finding now. What's he going to find? Oh, he's found the videos. He's found the videos.
Look at that ankle already strapped up.
Yeah.
Jack, you were so blonde.
Yeah.
God,
was that bleached or just sun?
No, that's just natural. Oh, natural, sir.
Nice.
So, Jack, what other videos have you got there?
No, I'm just going to stop that now.
Why
So, Jack, have I not got scapulars? There's no point me doing the scapular retractions.
No, that's not what I said.
That is exactly what you said.
Word for word what you said.
By the way, I thought of a good way you could verbally describe it, because it's not.
Hold on, one sec. Before you go on to the actual proper information.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, what's he now?
Wow.
Darth Vader now.
We've got all the get-ups in this house.
There we go.
It's like Beyonce, like.
Actually, we did. I'm going to come back to that point in a minute, Graham. I heard that, or Nathaniel, whoever just took the piss out of me. I'm writing notes here. I'm going to come back at you all at some point. So I'm going to set a little competition with my Field Fit crew, and you know how the whole doing this whole 1 day a week thing. Okay, so you're only allowed to go out 1 run a day.
Yeah.
I'm going to come up with a competition about best costume, so like the best disguise you can go out in, so no one can notice you. Obviously, still go out. Still be safe, obviously, and go out once. But
are you going to go out as Mayor Quimby from Inspector Gadget, Jack?
I could do.
Someone get that image up and you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Who? I'll Google it.
Mayor Quimby. Chief Quimby from Inspector Gadget.
Right, you carry on talk while I get this picture.
Yeah, you get this picture. We want a side by side, please, Jack.
Yeah.
Side by side.
Or Tintin with a beard.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Are you on it, yeah?
I'm going to find it because then you can take a screenshot, mate. So, you know.
Print screenshot while I'm at it.
you know, there we go, everybody.
Hold on, 1 second. 1 second.
No, to be fair, the tash is gone.
No, the tash is still there. You just can't see it very well.
Oh.
I can actually tweak it up.
Oh yeah, bum fluff.
Yeah, it's bum fluff. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, like look. It's just Jack.
I like it.
Pure,
I like it.
Pure Jack.
Hold on, I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Anyway, right, I'm coming back to Nathaniel's point. 2 years we're doing this podcast, right? By all now, you should all know that I come out with shit that sounds perfect in here.
Yeah.
But when it comes out of here, it doesn't quite sound always like what it does, all right? So
it's not always engaged.
It's not always engaged. And from a very young age, I've always been told that. So you just have to live with that.
Or something happens before it reaches the mouth and it gets twisted.
Just gets twisted. So when I say girls don't have any scapulars, what I really mean is they don't know how to use them very well.
Yeah, Jack.
That's much better.
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
That clears the whole point up, Jack.
Yeah. Definitely in the hole. Emily's out at the moment, isn't she? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's probably wise.
He doesn't worry about offending me.
I don't worry about offending anyone. Did you watch that podcast with Matt B. Davis?
So, Jack, I was trying to think how you could explain it. Is actually you think about pushing the bar away. So you were saying about contracting. A lot of people bend their arms. Just keep your arms straight and think about pushing the bar away from you. And you may only move like half an inch to start.
Tash, I knew exactly what I sounded like. I know I meant that, but it just didn't come out that way.
You didn't verbalise it well.
I didn't verbalise it well, but people know what I mean.
I'll put up a video.
This is what Jack meant.
We do have scapulars.
I'm getting hot.
Do rotator cuff exercises like.
Oh, it's not that kind of podcast yet. Put it away.
Oh.
He's still got. He's got his Tahoe t-shirt on as well. Bless him.
I have got my Tahoe t-shirt on.
Oh, that's nice. So on brand.
I've gone to my standing desk and I'm not in the light, unfortunately.
We're all on brand.
We're all on brand, aren't we? Is Stuart on brand?
I'm not.
Ah, Stuart is.
Good boy.
These two.
Sorry, I didn't have time to change after my run, so I'm not.
Well, it's a long pre-season. I've got to keep the shirt on as long as possible, I suppose.
This is very true.
Jack, did you want to comment on getting what happens to athletes at this time?
Yes, I do. Yeah, because someone started taking the piss out of me, so I
think everyone is different. So what's the difference? What happens?
To me, I reckon from what I've noticed, it depends where you perceive. If you go right back to the start, it depends where you perceive yourself as an athlete. If you're someone who fitness is part of your life every single day, and you just lead a healthy lifestyle and a very active lifestyle, it's a slightly different pace that if you're trying to build up for something that feels less than that, let's say. So, I've got some athletes who were disappointed that the races they've been really trying to peak for weren't going to happen. And for them, it's kind of, whoever it is, it's actually more just sort of baseline into something above the race. I found those are the ones that can tend to contextualize what racing means in something larger. They're the ones that seem to be a little bit more balanced out the back end of it than those that are like, I have to do this. And they're coming from almost a place of defensiveness for their position rather than just sort of being quite passive with where they're moving. So some athletes are really, like you talked about, Tash, they're quite happy to sort of just move the schedule and just say, okay, I'll peak then when I can start racing again. Whereas a lot of others are starting to go, right, okay, I'm going to go and do the things I want to go and do. Like maybe, go and run some FKTs, or I've always wanted to do that long run down the beach, or I've wanted to be able to work on a particular strength part. So I think from a mental perspective, the kind of people who can recontextualize and sort of loosen their grip a little bit on what that goal was around racing, they're the ones that tend to make the biggest leaps forwards in terms of using this space quite positively. So.
The only thing I think I need to rethink is because I had a plan based on, we had a beast first, then a super, then a sprint, then we had a bit of a gap, and then it was coming into championship season. So my plan was to prep for like the greases and stuff, was in that break to do like an ultra, really like in the peaks quite early. But actually now that would interfere too much with the beast that's now moved into August. So I just need to have a rethink of how I prep for the longer stuff in the champ season while still being sharp for the super and the sprint, which are now sprinkled in the middle. That's the only thing that I think now is like, oh, that's a bit pants, that my plans got to change. But
yeah, and it'd be quite interesting to see what you guys think, because I wonder how capable people are going to be selective with a compressed season. Like, we know that there's going to be a lot of races that people want to do or wanted to do before this all happened. And if they all get compressed over from, say, a 10-month period to a 4-month period, how are people going to be comfortable with making those selections? Let's say I'm going to focus here, 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 because you're not going to be able to do everything.
No.
And the other issue as well is now they've said, oh, and by the way, here's 300, 200 and 100 pounds for the podium. All of a sudden, you've got everyone going, well, I'm going to go for the money then. So all of a sudden, that competition then takes more of a emphasis towards money winning. So actually your heart decisions become your head decisions, which sometimes then we all know as beginners, because we've all been there the first 2-3 years of our season where we do so many bloody races and we're 3 or 4 grand down in race fees, but you know, we just love racing, you know, and I think that doesn't change the higher level you get and the better you get, and age group, whatever you're achieving pro, you know, really that goal just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and we still want to race. We still all do OCR because we really enjoy it, you know. So picking and choosing, I can imagine for your top end athletes, you know, like your Lindsays, your Ryans, your Ian, people like that, they must be really going, well, or is it easier, Graham? Is it easier for them because they go, well, actually, you know, the money's not an issue because we win most races per se. You know, are they saying, well, actually, I know I only want to do that race, that race, that race? Or are they still at home going, shit, I want to do every race, Sky race, this race, that race? You know, what?
No, I think that from the conversations I've had with my athletes, they've been really balanced. It's about just saying, okay, the shift has moved. We're still we can place ourselves in an off-season mindset, basically meaning we can drive what we want to go and drive. When we get to a point where we can start making some choices and we know that there's some more sort of cemented dates in the diary, then we'll look at what interests us and where our passion goes. Because a lot of the top end guys, it sounds weird, but they don't race for the money. No. They race for enjoying racing.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a byproduct of it all is the money. Yeah. So they're just looking for where they want to extend themselves and apply that from there. And, you know, you've seen on the posts around, you know, Lindsay's shifted her focus this season into, before this all happened, as to what she wanted to concentrate on. That's because she wanted to follow her heart. You know, from what I could interpret on the post. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think if people can engage with why they race and the races that are going to fulfill that why in the moment, then they're in a far stronger place going forwards to be able to make some informed choices.
I think one thing that's come out of this is I thought I'd be more disappointed than I am, but I've realised actually I do just love training, and training, not exercise. I actually like doing what I'm doing, even though you think, like you sent me that post, Jack, of when you've got a workout, you're like, oh, this is going to be hard. When you're in it, you're like, oh, this is hard. And then afterwards you're like, yeah, I'm a beast. And that's, I just like that feeling. And I like, so the racing is kind of not a byproduct of that. I like that you were saying, Graham, I think I've been really disappointed if the Europeans was in June and that was cancelled. That's the one that I'm like, I want to do it, and that's probably more because it's an adventure, it's mountains, it's gorgeous, it's going to be memory making. I'm not, if they okay, this is really bad. Whereas versus if Marsden got cancelled because they can't shift it, I wouldn't be as disappointed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think
pure racing that is driving.
But we talked about this in Tahoe, right? We talked about how, as you start to progress in the sport, you start realizing that there is a travel-based adventure element to some of this stuff too. Like Abu Dhabi is going to be fantastic because it's going to be a unique race in a space that no one's seen before.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell you running over sand dunes ain't easy.
No, it's
horrible. But, you know, when people get there and start looking at it, there's a whole adventure that goes on, and you got such a great experience that twice last year in terms of the Dolomites and Tahoe when you went. And I think as more and more the UK racers start to really enjoy the sport, sending that adventure to different places can bring another facet to what this sport is in a way that we haven't done before. Luke, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, I think just there's nothing much we could do about all of this. So just roll with the punches, and I'll pick my races once I get closer to the season. I'm going to aim in on probably the series races and then the championship stuff. I would have loved to have done every single race as much as I could, but with it being so condensed, I think once I get closer and closer to it coming, I'm just going to pick and choose certain races. I might have to drop ones that I would have liked to have done, but I'll just do ones that I really fancy. But I'm not really thinking about it right now. Still far away. You're looking maybe 3 months, if that, just enjoying training. Really, my lifestyle was I went to the gym or trained or ran like almost every day anyway before, like forever. That's what I've always done. So I'm just enjoying doing some fun challenges online, videoing myself dying.
He loves videoing himself.
Pretty much. And then just going for like runs and stuff, and pretty much just that.
I mean, we're really appreciating our runs now, aren't we? Because it's being outside is like so nice. But have you noticed, does anyone else notice how many more people are suddenly running?
Yeah,
I went out at 6:30 the other morning, and usually I would see no one. And I saw 10 people on a run that I'd usually see no one.
But this is sort of a good side effect of this whole thing. And this is something we can talk about as well. Like, you know, you see pictures of Venice at the minute and the water is crystal clear. You go to Italy, there's dolphins coming at the beaches. You know, the pollution levels in China itself have gone down. You know, all things like that are massive advantages to this happening in a negative way, effectively. But again, that's another thing. Like Luke said earlier, kids are at home with their parents. They're getting both parents at home. So that's great for them within reason. People are going out and exercising, you know, but yeah, I think it's good, but it's also a bit of a negative, like they're doing it in the wrong circumstances. That makes sense. Like my worry is, will this continue? What's the knock-on effect? So will everyone, when Boris comes out and says we're all clean and healthy, let's go out again, will everyone just go back inside? Or will those people continue to run and keep fit and healthy?
Hope so.
It's going to be a mixture, isn't there? Some people will just disappear back into the life that they used to lead, and some people will go, okay, this enforced break that we're on has given me the chance to take a bit of stock of what the merry-go-round was like before, and rather than just jump back into all of it, I'll just pick and choose the bits I want to get back into and have back in my life.
I think it will depend how long this goes on for, because if it's a couple of weeks, I think they're more likely to go back to their old habits. Whereas actually, if this goes on for a few months, that will become your new habit.
Yeah,
100%. And actually people will start to really feel how much better they feel, and they are more likely to keep it up.
You've got that Joe DeSena effect, haven't you? If you do something every day, all of a sudden it becomes a lifestyle and a habit, you know, so it's all about keeping those habits, you know, good and continue doing them, I suppose. And
I think it depends though, it depends on the choice people want to make. Like it's the whole fight or flight thing. You know, when we go and shoot, all of us are athletes, right? We all train, we all do stuff we know it gives us good things when life was how we knew it a couple of months ago. But what you find is that we've got a good reason to get out of bed and push ourselves. That is that sort of fight aspect coming into what we do. But so many people just say, you know what, it's easy for me to sit down and spend half an hour just chilling on Instagram on my phone than to use that half hour to go and do an AMRAP for 20 minutes. And just smash your workout from there. And when people make those choices, that could come back in because of that level of comfort they can find in going, well, it's easy just to sit here and not push myself and not put myself through that pain a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think you're gonna, like, I think to Nate's point, you're gonna end up with this. Some will go back. Some will say, actually, I found this new way that really makes a benefit for me, and they'll be like, they'll just enjoy that going forward.
Diets will change as well, though, because you've got Mackie D's shut everywhere, which is just quite a surreal feeling. So people aren't just getting their crack fix, so to speak.
Oh, Stuart, are you telling me you go to Mackie D's?
On a regular basis. I've got kids.
He's got a loyalty card, but not that.
They know me by my name.
You know, I'm in the car a lot, and every McDonald's you go past has always got 3 or 4 cars in the drive-through. Now they're obviously they're all closed. Yeah. It's such a surreal feeling as you drive around.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people, they'll get out of the habit and hopefully change slightly.
How many people are eating things that they don't normally eat at the moment because they've gone to the shop, the stuff they normally buy isn't there, and they've gone, okay, I'll have to get this, this, and this, and now they're going, I've never had this before. Some stuff doesn't work, but some stuff you're like, this is a new thing.
Yeah, quinoa sales are through the roof.
My mum messaged me, and she was so excited. She's like, I managed to get pasta. I was like, you don't like pasta? She was so excited that she managed to get it. She doesn't even eat it.
So your mum was one of those people that needs punching. Oh, I see.
No, she was just so pleased. She was like, we haven't had pasta for ages. I managed to get some. I was like, you don't eat it.
But do you know what's really weird? And it's interesting you say that, Nat, because literally I was saying to Emily earlier, our habits of food and what we're eating hasn't changed.
No.
That's made me realise that actually we do eat fresh vegetables, bake our own bread anyway. So I was already at that point, you know. What does annoy me is when you go to the mackerel aisle, because I love mackerel, by the way, just mackerel in oil and
I really hate it when mackerel's gone.
And all the mackerel's gone.
Honestly,
damn mackerel.
What is the world coming to?
I know it sounds really weird, but when you've done a hard, like sweaty or a long run, mackerel and eggs or salmon and eggs or like sea bass, that really oily fish is really good with salt.
But like, you know, honestly, Stu's kids are missing McDonald's. Jack, the kid, is missing mackerel. That says it all.
I'm down to 4.
So you're
really bad.
Buys multiple tins.
No, I would normally have about 100 in there. Normally, I'm down to 4.
God.
Oh, Jack, what will you do with yourself?
I'm going to have to start using my hand to wipe my arse soon as well. That's the only other issue.
Now,
Emily can have no jobs left.
This is serious. I only have 2 left, and I can't get any more.
Hold on.
What is it?
Did Luke just do a joke?
What, Nutella?
Yeah,
Nutella?
it was a good one, as well.
Oh, pip and nut.
I'll tell you something. On the high calorie spread thing, I found that Nutella is no longer the second most calorific spread in the sport. Nutella's moved to number 3.
Oh, Lotus biscuit spread.
Exactly. That is what it is.
So whoa. You fat bastards. What?
It's known as Biscoff in the UK.
Yeah.
If you get it from Europe, it's called Speculoos.
We have it. Yes. Biscoff.
That one.
They're in the hotel. That's what they give with coffees.
It's the same stuff. Tash, how good is their flavour of that thing?
Hang on a minute.
She's eating it.
Number 1.
Dude, have you washed your hands?
Yeah.
Since you've had a delivery from the delivery man.
The only bad thing is I couldn't get the crunchy one, so it is smooth. The crunch is better.
Yeah, right. Reese's peanut butter chocolate spread is amazing. If you need something calorific, this is the shit.
What's the calorie count? What's the calorie count?
We've descended into anarchy.
Yeah.
Jack's like, why aren't you all eating mackerel in your endurance sport?
I like mackerel.
Okay.
Right, Graham, 552 calories per 100 grams.
Oh, right. Okay, let's have a look. This is the content that people need. This is the content.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Hold on. How many calories?
562, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, you beat me by 10.
Oh.
In how much?
No, interestingly.
100 grams.
Tash, 584 for Speculoos.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Dude,
get it from the Dutch.
I'm afraid mackerel beats you all.
I think that might be the first time anybody said
that. Well, per 63 grams, 476 calories.
Whoa!
Okay, wow.
Beast!
It's pure oil, isn't it?
Jack, it's not a spread. Jack, it's not a spread.
Don't spread that on your oats.
No, but I just eat like this.
Yeah, but when you're doing a 24-hour ultra, Jack, and you come into the pit stop, you're not going to say, can you open me a tin of mackerel, please?
100%. I had these on routes.
He's going to bring mackerel to Europe Stuff as Mother, I'm sure.
I would.
I will. Tip for you all. These 2 together, and I have this every night on top of my pudding. It's amazing. That's that.
Is it the
sweet?
Is the sauce? Is that the sugar-free, no-calorie stuff?
No.
Right, okay. Let's stop this. Let's stop this madness. Right. Okay.
This isn't madness. This is nutritionally sound advice.
I get that. But right, if who
wouldn't love this content?
If I ate what Natasha ate, honestly, I would put on weight just like that.
Yeah, Natasha.
I swear to God.
And
I'm sure Stuart
my dad told me after having eaten too much sea bass the other day, he was like, "You ate the whole packet in one go. You should only be eating half. That's for 2 people." And then my mum said, "We're talking about these. Like, I can't remember what it was." And she was like, "Do not eat the whole lot at once."
Oh no, that'd be the caveat.
Split that in 2.
Oh.
Not even live without prep. Yeah, I was like,
that was the beluga. That was.
You got to leave some for the pony, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the butler.
You've seen what my parents
when I
go around there.
Like a small mountain.
You know, Jack. Like if you ate the calories. Oh, here we go. Oh.
I like that Jack's is bigger.
Yeah. First time he's heard that.
I think mine was just a mocha with a bit of cream on top. I think Fatty here went for the full fat option.
Is that in the Tahoe airport, mate?
It was, yeah, in San Francisco, yeah. When we could travel and get around the world.
We will again, people. We will again.
Jack, I've just been asked to be in Singapore at the end of June, potentially. So
nice.
Will you get to Singapore?
Possibly, if we can all travel, then I'll go. So.
I'm more interested about who iPad number 6 is. Reveal yourself.
iPad number 6.
Just lurking.
And what happened to the previous? What happened to the previous 5 iPads? That's the question.
You threw them at podcasts.
iPad number 6.
iPad number 6. Do you have a name?
What have I missed?
Yeah, they have a K next to their logo, so it must.
I can't even see a logo.
I can't see a logo.
If you click on participants at the bottom, it will bring up everybody, and it has their logo. So if you have a name as your first letter of the name,
that's an I and open.
No, that's an I in a bracket.
How do I change my name?
Oh,
you go to settings.
Where's settings?
Jesus, she's been doing this 2 years and she doesn't know any of this.
Jack, you're the one that's host. Just change the name for her.
I can change your name. Hold on. What do you want to rename it to?
Duracell Bunny. That's my nickname.
Where's the content gone? Content's just gone.
Well, thanks, Jack. Thanks. I found reactions.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
Oh, jeez. So
move it, though.
As it stands right now, guys, what's our next race? If effectively the race plan goes to plan, are we Marsden Lodge in July?
Yeah.
Oh, is there a race in June?
What's race in June?
No, that's moved.
It's moved.
Wasn't that Wales that's been moved?
Yeah. Oh, so you're Marsden Lodge July then.
The ETM was our next race, but that's been moved as well.
It's been moved.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Man versus Coast was my next race. That's been moved. So it's now Midlands on the 11th of July.
I show you something cool. I can't share it because I don't know how. Carry on talking while I find it.
Technically, I'm not racing the Spartan race this year, as per normal. I've got the Sandman Triathlon in September.
No.
Sandman Triathlon. Where's that?
It will be in Anglesey. So it's a sea swim, 1.5K sea swim, 51 bike, and then 11 run on the beach.
Tell you what, those sea swims, they're bloody hard, those triathlon sea swims.
Yeah. So right, go on, Tash, show us this awesome content.
Up. Hold it still, for God's sake, woman.
Ooh.
Rat race.
That's you, isn't it?
Is that Coast Man versus Coast?
But it's her, isn't it?
Tash, why don't you go and bring up the one from Race to the Wreck? Where they've got the footage, and I'll be in that. I'll be in that one.
The quiff in the yellow.
Find the Race to the Wreck video, and you'll see me on one of them. So.
I can't. You find it.
Yeah. So all those celebrities doing the comic relief thing, I was like, yeah, I've been there, done that. So yes, come. Jack,
good,
take us to another place, Jack. Take us to a non-mackerel area.
I did quite well getting us to mackerel, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're talking about like at-home training and things like weaknesses and stuff. give me your best go-to exercise while you're at home. So we already explained the sofa leg press. I quite like that. I might try that out later. Although my sofa's freaking huge. But yeah, let's give me your best. Stuart, let's start with you down the bottom. I know I do all your coaching.
I'm going to say you set all of my plans out. So,
but it's not OCR specific anymore. We know that.
Yeah.
Stuart, give us your favourite exercise Jack programs for you and your worst exercise.
Oh yeah.
Do it.
Okay. I'm starting to enjoy the compound movement. So back squats and deadlifts. I'm starting to enjoy that. I've got the kit in the garage. So that's okay.
But explain how we do that now, Stuart. So
well,
I'll explain.
I follow what you say.
Yeah. Okay. I'll explain what we do. So basically, I've taken, rather than do your basic 5x5 set. Okay, I find that very boring. I hate doing 5 rounds, 5 reps of your typical strength training. I get bored by the time I get to the third round. So what I've basically done is nicked a bit of the idea of, it gets heavy. So I've nicked French contrast idea and I've basically done it in the reverse. So we do more rounds, but less reps. So we just do 2 or 3 and then I back-to-back it, giant set it. So basically I'll do something like a back squat into a jumping squat, into something completely opposite like pull-ups. So you're getting a heavy weight, a plyometric contrast, and then you're getting an OCR specific like a dead hang or a pull-up. And then we do, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those. So it's fairly simple. It's all under 45 minutes and you're getting the best bang for your time rather than sitting at a bar. Where do you guys get
your squat racks from?
Mine was off Facebook. Tell you what, Facebook Market is the way forward. Not at the minute currently, but before coronavirus, Facebook Market was the best place to get anything from.
I need to get an indoor cycle thing.
We'll talk to that in a minute, Lee. We'll talk to that in a minute because I want to know what exercise Stu hates that Jack Pro makes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could be a
it's
run
hard to say, really.
Or is it just Jack? Is it just the fact that Jack is programming? That's the,
No, I mean, for me, it's my hour or 2 a day of stress release, either before or after work. So anything just to refocus and move on. But I suppose when you do the speed work, when you have to do so many seconds fast, and then I find that really tough.
Yeah.
So today's run was supposed to be more specific.
Supposed to be.
I did leave a comment on my training.
I'll read that. Has that just come through?
Yeah, I did it earlier on.
Would you like to take this conversation offline, chap?
Stuart, let's go to the group.
Break out.
Conversation.
Today just needs to be one of those runs where I just ran for the sake of running, just to get out, get the air, and I live in the countryside, so it's quite pleasant.
Nice.
So are you saying that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Today was a good day, but it's supposed to be the 4 point something kilometers an hour, 4 point something minutes kilometers, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I basically
cut that.
Okay, that's fine. And that's what it's all about. Although I'm a coach and I coach this stuff, sometimes you as an athlete, and we all get this because we've all been coached at some point, it's down to you. If your body's saying no, then it doesn't matter what your coach says.
My mind's telling me no, but my body.
And another good thing about this is because, well, I know, Stuart, you've got to still do the travelling, but the working at home is actually now every day is kind of the same. So if you need to shift a workout along and change the program a little bit, it doesn't matter as much. But even if you miss a workout, like it's the grand scheme of things. It doesn't matter.
However,
that shouldn't change. That should never change.
No. But what I'm saying is
right?
Like now, like I can, if I'm traveling to work, I wouldn't be able to fit like my Sunday long run in on a Monday. But like say today, I hadn't been able to get today's session in because I just couldn't feel the need for speed, and I did an easy run. I could shift that to tomorrow and do my long run on Monday because I haven't got the travel time. See what I mean? So it gives me that flexibility just to move stuff along if I need to. But whereas when I was traveling to work, I would have just had to not do those reps today.
I mean, in all fairness to Stuart, he is one of my best coach athletes. He does every workout. He's spot on, barely misses, and if
that's
anything,
my
Stuart,
OCD.
That is your OCD.
Yeah.
But what you would also agree, Stuart, at the start of the year, you were on for a really good season. Like you were hitting PB after PB after PB. smashing out workouts, like looking super fit and healthy. So for someone like you, it really hurts me because actually I don't get to see my athletes grow through the season now because of what's happened. It's like, shit, I don't really get to see how Stuart would have achieved on that sprint course or that beast course. So we will at some point, but
my main concern is getting, because obviously this is the first year I've booked to go to Greece for the TWC, and that's my main concern. Because I was on for my ×3 trifecta this year, and with Windsor, Greece, Hippenford and Marston, it's making me a little bit twitchy. They're all booked, but that's kind of been my goal. Now they've all been pushed back to July, August, November, or October, November. It's a bit of a kicker.
So for
getting
you,
9 races in is going to be tough.
Yeah. And from a coaching point of view, keeping Stuart, again, mindset, keeping him like up there and not dropping, physically keeping him at his peak without burning him out. That's where my job becomes fun, actually. I enjoy that. That's why I do coaching, because I like to see that. But yeah, I mean, Stuart's one of the best athletes I've got. So hopefully it shouldn't be such an issue with Stuart. But I mean, and that's my weakness. Coming back to your weaknesses is mindset. Like, I happily go and push any workout, but I really do struggle just keeping my end goal, and my goal changes all the freaking time. I sometimes forget why I do it, and I think the difficult thing is with us guys, we're all racing for podiums and higher places. Sometimes you forget that you just enjoy racing, and sometimes, and I wish that I actually step back a little bit and maybe did chase now some trifectas, or do like Nathaniel does and just go around the country racing, which is why this year I plan to do Slovenia, Greece. Me and Luca plan to go to Eindhoven, so I had tried to get that fun in racing a bit more, opposed to just every time you stand in that start line, you look left, you look right, and you think, right, race on, that's my weakness, I suppose. What's Luke singing?
Yeah. Luke's still got my body's telling me no and all that kind of going. It's clear
exactly what he looks like he was thinking.
Like for me, it's like what you said here. My go-to piece of equipment is my turbo for my bike, and racing on Zwift. Like racing on Zwift keeps you competitively sharp, guaranteed.
I went to get on my turbo, Graham, and my tyres were completely flat because I haven't used it in so long.
You need it.
It depends if you've got a direct drive one or a wheel-on one.
So. Depends how much money you want to spend, I suppose.
What's that?
We're just saying different types of turbo.
I've got the turbo tyre, but just both tyres, front and back, flat. So
I use rollers.
But the air's just come out of it.
Mate, but that was so old school watching you not stack it in a plant pot the other day.
Fuck. No, what you didn't see is I did stack it a few times. I just didn't.
Oh, so you didn't put that. Oh, there's an Insta life and a real life.
There's an Insta life and a real life. Is it not for everyone?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, I think I put quality content. I put the name of soup on.
I just have to say on the turbo thing, Graham, is one danger I think some people do is overtrain. Like I was thinking, actually, I'm not going to pump up my turbo trainer tyres because I'm doing enough running. As long as we can still get outside and run, I don't need to be getting on the bike because actually I'm already still doing 50 miles a week. And I don't want to ruin the quality of that.
Yeah, see, I've been recovering from injury. So, and I've not been able to load impact on for like 3 months on my race. So the turbo was awesome. And then this week I went out on the road and I knocked 6 minutes off a 23k bike ride because my power's got that much better over the winter, which was great. I've now been integrating running back in, and I can do 2 or 3 runs a week, 2 or 3 rides of varying intensities. But what I like about the Zwift option for the racing side is it keeps you racing sharp.
Yeah,
for sure. And that's a nice touch.
Yeah, so. Sometimes it's hard when you're out on your own mentally, even not even just with COVID, but in general, because I'm on my own program. I don't run with other people, so sometimes it is hard when you're doing those quality sessions to keep pushing.
Yeah, like last night, me and one of my athletes had a race together. He raced in his class and I raced in my class. And
did you get your ass kicked?
No, well, we raced in different classes, so we weren't head to head. But we were talking afterwards just about how one minute moment where you didn't stay with the pack meant you dropped off that group.
Yeah.
And it was like as simple as that. So you know, it's
that's dangerous.
I listened to Jesse Thomas and Lauren Fleshman on their Work Play Love podcast, and they were saying about Swift is brilliant for.
Do you know what? The amount of times that Natasha's mentioned as a podcast on our podcast, she's just going to get kicked off in a minute.
Natasha.
Every podcast.
What's wrong with picking up other podcasts?
There's no other podcast.
There is. We all know OCR Auto is the second best podcast in OCR, guys.
Here we go. No, I wondered at what point.
Yeah, the Running Public.
Yeah.
Nice.
I do actually really like the Running Public. I'm sorry, I'm mentioning another one now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is good.
I
It's good. I'm enjoying training Tuesdays.
We know ours keeps it real.
Tuesday, training Tuesday.
I'm actually glad this training Tuesday was about 80-20 because I've been banging on about 80-20 for freaking years. And now it's all of a sudden started to come into the forefront of these top athletes. And they all do it. It's just that it's taken someone like Kirk and Bracken to go, actually, this is what we do, you know.
I was like, I think people would be quite surprised that when they message me and they're like, oh yeah, but you run far. I'm like, I really don't. Like Tuesday, I had my quality session and some of my, like, I had like a couple of miles at tempo, then a couple of miles at like 10K pace. And actually I told myself off because I went too quick on one of them. And it was probably more like a 5K effort than a 10K effort. So that was like 5:52 minute miling for a mile. The next day, my run was 9:33 minute miling because I was just like, my legs are tired. I'm just going to plod. And it like, but most people wouldn't. That's nearly a 4-minute difference per mile.
Are you doing that sort of pace even this time of year in this situation?
Yes, because that feels like that is my 10K pace. But I'm going on effort, not pace. My next one, I slowed it down because I was like, actually, I probably pushed that a bit too hard.
So do you go by heart rate at all? No.
I go by effort.
Who else? I mean, obviously, I know about you, Stuart, but like, okay, Nathaniel, let's talk about yourself. How do you regulate your training? What do you go by? Feel, by heart rate, by time?
Yeah, heart rate. If I'm pushing hard, then I try and go by heart rate. If I'm having an easy day, I just go by feel and just pop along, see what feels comfortable.
Okay. See, I'm the opposite way around. Isn't that funny?
Well, I think it's meant to be the other way around.
Yeah,
I go heart like for easy stuff, but then I think I've learned. So like a tempo is an effort that I feel like I could hold uncomfortably, comfortably, if that makes sense, for like an hour. That's or a half marathon type effort, what that feels like.
So why are you doing sort of 5 and 10K tempo efforts at this time of the season when we potentially
I've been doing it.
So you always have a one-day
I always have a quality session like that, yeah.
How about you, Graham?
Unless I have a drop down week.
Yeah, me, I tend to go how I feel when I wake up in the morning. And then if I'm feeling like I've not done a speed work for a while, so something that really gets the heart rate up, like intervals and stuff, I'll go, all right, I'll do that. But I try and basically aim for one interval effort a week, one kind of mid-distance tempo effort of some sort. And then the rest of it really is just base building and playing around. And then I might throw in a hard bike ride and one or two soft ones just to, so it is close to 80-20, if I'm honest, which is where I've always kind of done anyway. And then I just tailor it to what I'm interested in at the time, because I can't stand planning that far ahead. If anyone writes me a program, I'm bored of it in a week, because I'm like, you're putting boundaries on me I don't need.
And that's coming from someone that's a mind coach. Crazy. Wow.
Jack,
well, that's just understanding how I do it, right?
I'm not even going to ask Luke.
Jack,
yep.
I'm not doing like really short, sharp, fast intervals at the minute, because that will come
later on.
That I'm doing either like quite long, either like fartlek type work, or like 1K or 1 mile long intervals at that pace or effort.
It's just interesting. I mean, I know what I feel that works. It's just interesting to see what other people are doing, because at the end of the day, we're all individual as well. Like, you can stand on a start line with someone next to you and their training might look completely different to yours. I know that if I'm doing short efforts, for instance, that's going to fatigue me a lot quicker, and I probably won't be able to maintain that throughout an off season. You know I like to get very but all anything lower than threshold for me is all heart rate. And opposite to what Nat was saying, anything over threshold, I go by feel or pace.
Yeah,
because,
but interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though I don't. If I'm doing anything quick, I don't do heart rate.
No, you can't because there's such a lag. I mean, one thing I did look into is these stride apps, so the power apps for your feet, for your foot pods. Yeah. And that is the only way I think you could probably properly regulate that higher end pace. But, you know, who's got 150 quid to spend on a stride app nowadays? Not many people. But
then also, I think once you've done heart rate and stuff training for quite a while, you do really instinctively. So like if I was to go out and try and do that session, I would know after the first rep if I hadn't got it in me that day, and I wouldn't then push it. I'd save it for.
And that's where we're coming back to Stuart's point about you guys go out for this run and actually, do you know what? The idea of, but here's the opposite side of things. Like here's where Graham will come in. I know I've got to go out and do, I don't know, a threshold, for instance, a 30-minute threshold, which is my Tuesday, right? I'm sitting all week going, do I fancy going out? I get there. I might have actually procrastinated for about 20 minutes. Emily will come down and go, have you not gone for a run yet? I'll be like, no, I'm on my third coffee, you know, procrastinating for it. And then I'll go out and two things will happen. I'll either get running and I'll feel absolutely amazing and go, I'm so happy I did that. Or I'll get there and go, I don't really want to do it, but I'm going to do it because I feel like I have to because it's on the plan. You know, now I know that's probably the wrong mindset and I probably should have stopped it, but I'm of the mindset that if I don't go and do that, all of a sudden the rest of my week's going to go downhill. It's a bit like as soon as I've opened one sweet or a Pringle, I have to eat the whole box because that is my mindset and I can't stop that. I know it's not good. But
no, I don't think.
Well, that's bollocks, Jack. I think it's fine. It's playing into yourself, and it's understanding the way you work.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who's likes to finish things and likes to make sure you hold yourself accountable in that way, then that's great. But there's others who say, well, I can be flexible because, you know, like Stu said this morning, Stu took the decision to say, I'm going to just take that bit out. I would imagine tomorrow or the day after, Stu will go, right, I'm going to put that back in because I feel up for it today.
Yeah.
You know, it's about sort of trusting yourself and following yourself in it sometimes.
There's a difference between going, oh, I really don't fancy this, but I'm going to force myself to do it. Like, if I had a 30-40 minute tempo run, I know that my warm-up, I could feel like absolute rubbish and think, I haven't got this in me today, but I'll give myself that first mile, and then I'll know what I'm really feeling. And if it's just a mind of, I really don't want to do it, then I'll push through. If my body is saying to me, I'm really tired or I'm tight somewhere. Like I did it the other day. I had a 40-minute threshold planned and I knew that I just felt so tight because I'd done a hard session a few days before. So I made it like I made it a steady run rather than so I still did a quality session. I just dropped down to steady rather than threshold and that was fine. But if it was just a mind of, I really don't fancy this, then I'd never do my workouts. So you've got it's whether it's your mind or your body. So I don't think you're doing a bad thing by making yourself do it if you just don't fancy it.
Yeah. I think definitely I'm a lot fitter always physically than my mind is telling me. That makes sense. Like most of the times if I push and do that workout, I am fine. You know.
Yeah.
If I look at when you lot of like you guys, I mean you guys as in Jack, Tash and Luke, when you guys have said on Insta that you've had your best races, it's when you've just sort of trusted where you are in the moment and gone. You know, Tash, you had that moment where you switched looking off your watch off the other week and you went and PB'd. And Jack and Luke, I know you two have had the best races when I've just gone out and just seen how hard I can push myself.
Yeah.
And that seems to have been the biggest game changer for you guys.
Do you guys race with a watch on, Nathaniel Stewart?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I use my Polar Heart strap as well. I just tend to get in the habit of putting on it. It's my comfort blanket, so to speak.
Yeah, and do you track during race, or is it once you've hit save and you sit down and have your breakfast or whatever afterwards and look and go, okay? Or
go Stuart. Go on, you go.
Now I've switched my my Polar watch has got this race calculator, so I can target a pace or target a time.
Okay.
Which is what I've done when I've hit those 3 PBs in this last couple of months.
Yeah.
So I've just set myself an unachievable target to try and motivate me to go faster than what I've already done.
Yeah.
Whether that's the correct thing to do or not, but it's worked for me.
Well, no, for me personally, you might have to ask Luke and Tash about this. I mean, and Graham come to that. He's done plenty of races. Like for me, when it comes to race day, I don't go on anything. Like I even if someone was like the other day, for instance, that 10K we did in Thetford, my coach told me to hold back for the first sort of half a bit, have a play, get into it. I didn't. I can't race like that. I've just got to go, not looking at the watch, just go as hard as I possibly can. And if it all goes Pete Tong, it goes Pete Tong. That's what you learn. That's what those C races are for. You know, like if you get there and finish. A lot of people finish, like Ian, I heard Ian say on a podcast on the other day, Reinforced Running, I'll give him a shout out. And he was saying that he finished that sprint in America the other day and he felt like he had more left in him. Now, when I did triathlon, I'd finish a sprint triathlon and feel like I could go again. And that shouldn't be the way you should feel after a sprint. So I like to, like now, turn off the watch, don't even look at the watch. I still got it running because I still like the metrics, but I don't even look at my watch. I just push to how I feel. And then sometimes that can be a negative because you can look down and go, oh shit, I'm not actually pushing hard enough.
Yeah, but in a sprint, do you only go as hard as you're being pushed?
Yes, that's the other thing. Like, and this is without, this is the interesting thing is that, I was going to say this earlier, and we'll come back to you in a minute, Nat. Basically, last year, I remember thinking, I really don't feel ready for the season. I don't feel ready for the season. I finished 5th in the first series race on the Saturday, and I finished 1st in the sprint the next day. I finished and went, holy shit, if I can do that and I feel like crap, what can I do when I feel like good? You know, and that sort of gave me a buzz. And right now we're talking about not having any races and, oh my God, how am I going to be? You just don't know until you get to that race day and get on that race line. And how much of that is mental? How much of that is like when you're running along and I've got Luke next to me and Luke, when we're in 1-2 racing first, I could probably go faster than that, but I would never know because I'm only racing myself to you. And that's a really weird concept. But I mean, does that happen in the middle of the field? So like if, I don't know, anybody's in the middle of the pack, not racing at the front, or even in age group or wherever you are, you know, how much can you actually, and 9 times out of 10, we've got more pushing us. We've got more drive. We've got more effort. We just need to find that. And it's a bit like what Graham said, finding your why. You know, why am I in this field right now, jumping over this 8-foot wall? What do I actually want to achieve? Is it a medal? Is it to finish? Is it to win? And I'm not really sure I'm going with this.
I think one thing I reflected on, was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. Was I was starting to get like that mentality of, oh, so-and-so's here, I've got to be there. And then I realised that it's the difference between, say, just pure running and OCR. It's very unique in that we are racing the same people over and over and over again. And then you just become so engulfed in what other people are doing that you're not focusing on yourself and you're not going to have your best race. So you've almost got to treat it like, I am going to run this race for what the best I can do. Ignore everyone else. You can't if people turn up that we've never seen before that could be phenomenal, you can't control that. You can only control what you're going to do. Yeah. And the best races I've had is when I've only focused on me and not worried about anyone.
And that happened in the Dolomites, right, Tash? We spoke the night before. You went and raced your own race the following day, and look where you came. It was just like it's really interesting because talking to that fight or flight thing, one of the sort of flight options we take in races is to get relative because it's easier. And you can say, oh, I've got more push to go. That person's 100 yards ahead of me. I can push to try and get them. Or that person I'm 100 yards ahead of, I'm going to keep that distance. That's a safe place for our brains when we race. And to your point, Jack, it takes a real discipline to say, no, this is where I am. And this is where I could go harder. And the more you can focus on that, and I think using a device when you race can be a good way of helping drive that decision. If you go back and watch the Jacksonville video from the men's race, you will see a point where Atkins checks his performance and changes the way he's racing. It's about halfway through, and that's the normal point that you find it. So, but if you can hold that in the right way and the information accelerates you, fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you look at it and then it limits you, that's where it can mentally change the way you approach the race from there, I've found.
I think that 10K was the first time, and I think I'd limited myself in that distance because it's not my distance. And I was like, I'm never going to beat 37 minutes. That is my threshold. That's my limit. So when I raced one a few months before, I was looking at my watch. And when I was going sub 6, still 5K in, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to hold this. And I dropped back. Whereas in the last one, I completely ignored it. And actually at the start, it was interesting because there was a girl, I'd not heard of her, but everyone's going, oh, show you, she's here, she's going to win it. And I could feel myself being like, and they're like, no, you're not here for that. So I just ran my own race, and I overtook her on a hill. Yay, Spartans. And then, but I didn't think, oh, I'm in first. I got it because I didn't want to panic, and I didn't look at my watch, nothing. And then I finished, and it was like 5:57 average. So I could do it, but it was that. But in a OCR, I think the same thing. If you get to a certain point and you're racing other people, and you look down at your watch, you go, I can go quicker than this pace, but I'm holding myself back because I'm thinking, well, I'm around these people that I'm usually around. So it depends on the race. It really does.
I enjoy that in a race though, just on a light-hearted note, when you get to sandbag carry, for instance, and you can see you've got the people around you racing, and you put that sandbag and you're like, I feel really good. I'm just going to put a kicker in and see how everyone else reacts. And then when you get in front of them, it's two things. Luke normally tries to chase down and follow, but it's really weird to see the rest of the field go, whoa, okay, someone's just put a kicker in. What do I do? I love that mindset of OCR, and that's why we do it, isn't it? Like, I did that Thetford half marathon the other day, Stuart. I freaking hated every second.
Boring.
All it was just, what pace am I doing? What's my heart rate? Why do I feel like shit? Where's the freaking carries?
And you're not racing other people. You haven't got that competitive. You're only competing against the clock and yourself.
Yeah. And the thing is, the string snapped for me because I wasn't quite where I wanted to be, and I then got disappointed mid-race, and it took me mid-race to go, well, actually, I'm not on a 6-minute mile yet for a half marathon. You know, like, I can't do that. I'm asking my body to do something physically it's struggling to do. Just back off and then just enjoy it. And I still didn't enjoy it because it's a bloody running race and I hate running. But, you know, if it had been a sandbag carry, I would have taken the win. But here you go. That's what I just keep telling myself.
I actually had a half marathon booked. When did we get told everything was getting cancelled? It was the Sunday, and on the Saturday it got cancelled. And I was a bit like, oh, and I made myself go and do it on my own. And part of me was like, I'm joking. Why am I doing this? And I was like, no, come on, do it. And actually, it was all right, but I get your point of like, it's not as fun just and running a race against a clock. And if you don't beat that time, you feel like, oh.
My wife still likes to run, so Emily still likes to run. So I made a bit of a rule with Emily that if we're going to do only running-based races, they have to be either somewhere abroad or they have to be super amazing. So it's well worth doing.
Yeah.
So, like Venice Marathon was brilliant last year because we ended up in the sea. This year we had a couple of halves planned, and they were just like either on the Devon coast or somewhere beautiful, you know, Man versus Lakes or whatever. So that's my rule now. If I'm going to run a race, it's not a boring race. It has to be like out of Nathan's book and Nathaniel's book. It has to be somewhere amazing. So when you finish, you can sit and go, wow, you know, like, this is why I'm doing it. Look at Morsey. You know what I mean? That to sit and do a podcast on that lake in Morsey, and I sit back now, and even Tahoe, looking back through those pictures earlier in this podcast, it's like, wow, this is why we do this, you know?
That's why I really wanted us to do that team.
I got to shoot and help with baby duties.
Oh, what?
I'm going to go in a minute as well, but Luke,
I got to be a parent too.
I was going to say that's why I wanted us to do that Maverick Peak District.
Would have been a cool one. We'll see.
Yeah, as a team, that would have been awesome.
Just before we all go, then let's just get Nathaniel. I want to ask Nathaniel. Like, so Nathaniel, when you're racing, do you do it by time? How do you go? Do you wear a watch?
So I do wear a watch. It has got a heart rate sensor. So I keep an eye, especially if it's like a beast or something, I keep an eye on like the effort I'm putting in early in the race, just to kind of check myself. And, you know, if we've got a long climb to do, am I kicking it too hard early to kind of think, will I have something left in the tank? Because this is a long day. Yeah. And also I like to check the distance for the same kind of thing, like because a lot of the races we do aren't really marked. You don't get any kind of marking on the way. So I like to see, right, this is how the distance we think it's going to be before standardization came in. And I raced at Nuclear quite a lot last year, so their distances are always way off. But you kind of think, okay, you're mentally preparing, right, what have I got left in the tank? When can I give it a kick and stuff like that? So
really interesting, Nathaniel. It's like, I don't know if you noticed, did you do Greece this year? Last year?
No, I'm going to Greece, but I haven't done it last year.
Because Greece last year, they put course markers on,
right?
And Tahoe, which really threw me.
Did they have? Were they in any way accurate?
I don't really know because I don't trust them anyway. But and they're in kilometers, so that completely baffles me. I can't do math. I can't do math and run at the same time, so that doesn't work.
Because I do almost half my races are in Europe. I do work in kilometers all the time. It just makes it easier because the races I really care about are in mountains.
On that note, I don't trust anybody that works in kilometers.
No. I would say this minutes per kilometre. I'm like, I can't. No.
Yeah, lost me.
Everyone's face is just glazed over. They're like, I don't understand.
And on that note, guys, right? I think we'll leave it there.
Pleasure.
Should we do another one of these?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're game. We like coffee.
Really good.
Coffee 2 hours. I like it.
Coffee chat.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to go to bed. Have a good day, everyone, and I'll keep the lights on for you overnight tonight.
Cheers,
and
guys.
And get the peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate that, guys. Bye.